Hello and welcome, race fans, back to the Racer's Mind here on PTR TV, kind of the podcast thing we do here. I'm Brandon Krutz, joined by Michael DeGroat and Corey Silva, and we're here. Michael with a little wave. We're here tonight, back again on a Monday night, a little bit earlier of a start time, not by much, but we do have a broadcast to do right after this with the Integrity Racing League, brand new league we picked up on Monday night, so be sure to stay tuned after the podcast to watch that. But welcome back, guys.
Hello.
How we doing tonight, guys?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So, kind of planned out our topics a little bit better tonight on what we're going to talk about. Corey, what's the first thing?
All right, so people ask for it, so we are going to bring it on. We're going to bring on the PTR TV next special event series, and that is going to be entitled the Ptr Team Clash. So last time we had some real drivers. We had about 8 planned, but I mean, real world kind of got involved. We had like 8 drivers planned. We got like 3 or I think 3, maybe 4 were in there actually. And it was a fun race. It was league versus league. It was drivers versus league. I mean, it was kind of a lot of stuff going on. So now we changed it, and it's going to be just about teams. So this is how it's going to work. And I'm going to pull up a graphic in a bit, but let's give you a little bit of a heads up. Every team is going to register. We're going to let 3 drivers on per team. So if your team is XYZ Motorsports and you have John, Bob, and Charles on it, great. You guys sign up, you register. And then every other team registers until we set the cap, which we'll determine as we get interest. And then there's going to be 3 races a night. There's going to be a dirt race, a NASCAR-style race, and a road course race, all encompassing about 2 hours. We're not going to do anything crazy. It's going to be fun, raceable combinations. 3 races a night. And for each race each night, the highest finishing driver on your team will get the points. So if all 3 of you were in the race, and let's say Bob finishes highest, his points count towards that race. You guys like the names, don't you? So if Bob at the first race gets the most points, his score counts. For the next race, if Charles gets the highest finisher, his points count XYZ down the line. So the team points add up each night, and then at the end of the season, it's going to be which team wins the entire thing. Sounds complicated in principle, but it will be a little easier once we kind of get it on paper and out to you guys. So here I'm going to pull up. This is the schedule, and Brandon and Michael have this as well. So there's going to be 3 nights. First one is going to be in May, and then we have one in June and one in July. So that way it's ample time to plan. So we have Skippies at Summit Point, late models at Eldora, Xfinity at Pocono. They're going to be short. It should be about 2 hours for each race, so nothing that's out of the ordinary, overextended. We're going to make it so there's no wait times in between sessions. It's all going to be boom, boom, boom. We're going to get this done. Obviously, all going to be broadcasted by us, obviously. And all 3, you can see the combos, Mazdas, modifieds, trucks, Cadillacs, trucks again, some IndyCar. So it's really going to test the diversity of all the teams out there, and the drivers on the teams is going to be people who are better in certain situations, and maybe different drivers will be scoring points during the thing. So I really think it's going to be fun for all.
And this is where the whole team aspect really comes into it. Like, different track combinations, different car combinations. Maybe someone's not a road course guy, but they're excellent on dirt. Perfect, or asphalt oval, whatever. So I think personally it'll be really good. We've got the first event on May 7th. These are all at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Just quick add on there. First one's going to be Wednesday, May 7th. Second one's going to be Wednesday, June 20th. And the third one's going to be Wednesday on July 25th.
Yeah, so like I said, they're all going to be back to back to back to back. So like 3 races a night. You're not going to have like 15 minutes in between. We're going to get the points updated right away, so you won't have to worry about that. And then, like I said, it's going to be a really good time. There's sponsorship available for it, so we are going to look for sponsors. There will be prizes if we get no sponsors, There will be something on the line for the winners. We will guarantee that. We will figure that part out as it becomes available, as we get that information. Obviously, it depends on how many people sign up too. I mean, if we get 3 teams that sign up, I mean, we might have to call it off. I'm hoping, like, based on our popularity of the last event we had, we should get a lot of outburst for it. If you look in the description down below, there is a link, a Google Forms document. You will fill it out, just team name, each driver on the team, and I want an email address from one person. That way we can email that as a team by team. We don't have to send out 25 emails or 60 emails. Just send one email out per team. And I just want to stress, I do want to stress, please, 1 entry per team. If, like I said, I'll go with Charles, Joe, and Bobby on Team XYZ. I don't want an entry from Charles and from Bobby and from the other guy. Please, 1 entry per team. And that way it's organized. And like I said, I don't want to get too far into that. We do have some other topics we want to go over. And I know people are, if you're listening on the podcast, which is actually the actual podcast, I don't want to bore you with all this, but yeah. Yeah, so that's that. Any thoughts or comments you guys have?
Charlotte was a big success, and all the league drivers really enjoyed that, getting together and competing, and obviously the opportunity for prizes and all that really added to the mix. But I'm pretty confident that this will follow suit and be something that a lot of people look forward to.
Yeah, so that is that. Like I said, if people are interested in that, you can go into the YouTube description. You will see the form. You can fill that out. And then as the event closes in, if we have participation and we have a lot of people that want to do it, it'll go on. Hopefully that is the case. Look forward to that. So that brings up the next topic, which I already forgot. So someone please remind me. I made all these topics and I forgot them. Oh, it's in the title of the video that I'm looking at right now. iRacing business model.
Yeah.
So, what better topic than to critique iRacing? I know, right? It's something we all like doing. Yeah, so obviously iRacing's pricing model isn't the cheapest out there. Sorry if the webcams for Michael and Brandon kept screwing up. I cannot figure out why it's happening, but regardless, iRacing is not cheap. We all know that. iRacing is very structured. It takes a lot of money to get invested into it, but once you do get invested into it, it really isn't that expensive anymore. So for me, and I think for you guys as well to varying degrees, when you're on it for years and years and years, and a piece of content comes out, you have discounts, you have credits, you might spend $5, $6 on a track. Big whoop. And that happens, what, once or maybe 5 times a year content comes out that I actually want. So what do I spend, $35 on content? But then you have someone who's just getting into it. They don't have that luxury of the discounts of all the credits, and then they're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So again, we kind of get into it. What's the wall there that takes people away, or kind of you justify it? Like, where do we set that line?
I think the price point, well, certainly can be a challenge when you're first getting into. I feel like it's a fair price. If you look at what iRacing needs to do in order to produce their content to laser scan tracks and cars, there's a lot of man hours and a lot of technical knowledge and a lot of people that go into doing these things. There should be a price. I think that having this price point too, I mean, obviously there may be a monthly recurring charge, or you pay yearly or quarterly or however you do it. It may, I think, deterring some people is okay. For people looking to play a video game, they can go play NASCAR Heat, or even go get on a Assetto Corsa or something like that. But the people who are willing to invest truly into something like this probably are more likely to take iRacing more seriously. And for me, those are the people I want to race around. So yeah, it's expensive, especially at first. I'm just finally coming out of where I'm buying something every week, and there's a cost to me for this series or that series or all of them that I like to do, and it's nice. It's really nice to only have to buy something right now maybe once or twice a month, but it's worth it to me knowing that I'm racing around people who are going to take it seriously because they've invested a lot into it financially.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that statement. The fact that you're spending so much money, I mean, we're all sitting, I think most of us are sitting in our rigs right now. You know, you put time and money into that, you put your time and effort into all the content that comes out, you're going to want to take it seriously. And that goes for most people. I mean, you see these troll videos about iRacing, blah, 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 blah. There's rich people that have nothing better to do with their life. But, you know, you're racing around people that care, you're racing around people that want to be good at what they do, and that's the best part about it for me. And the fact that iRacing will pair you up with someone who's around your own skill level in the official races is also very nice, and it boosts confidence, you know, once you finally start getting those wins. And most people after that, they'll start getting better, and they'll just end up spending more money anyways.
Yeah, and ultimately, and I know I see this in the forums, and I guess it really depends how you look at it, is you log in, okay, you're watching NBC, NASCAR, yeah, whatever the hell it's called, and you see Parker Kligerman doing his lap around Bristol or something like that. You're like, hey, that's cool, I want to do that. That's iRacing, that looks cool. You price it, and you price it at, oh, I got to buy the car, that's $12. Oh, I got to buy 23 NASCAR tracks at $14 a piece. I got to spend $100 a year. So is that the person that we are trying to get, the person who's watching it, or are we really kind of aiming for that different market? Because you would think we would want that generic audience that we would see on NBC or FS1. But I really feel like it would be a hard sell getting someone to spend that $600 who is in the general market, who's maybe seeing it from a distance.
This kind of merges into one of the topics that we were getting into last week as well, between the difference between a simulator and a video game. This is the simulation. This is not something that's cheap. It's not something that it's a one-time cost. It's something that you're going to have to put money into. And a lot of real-world drivers use it for practice. A lot of people use it you know, because it's the closest thing that they can get to a race car. And yeah, you're still spending that money, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than racing in real life.
I think people know that. Sorry, Brandon, to cut you off there. I think people know that, you know, this is a powerful tool even for real life race car drivers and teams and organizations. And I think they're willing to give it a shot. You know, iRacing offers great deals at the beginning, you know, for, you know, free month or 3 months for, you know, one. I don't know what they do now, but, you know, they offer a good way for you to get your foot in the door and a good amount of free content, and more and more free content becoming available. It gives you an idea on what iRacing is, and if it's something that you want to put money into. It does become apparent right away, because you are going to go to iRacing. If you're watching NASCAR, you're going to go look for that Gen 6 car, and you're going to want to race around Daytona, and you're going to see right away that this is an investment. So, I mean, you have the opportunity, like I said, to test it out for very minimal cost. And a lot of people know from the broadcast, from the internet, that this really is a powerful tool. So I think people who want to be in part of that, you know, part of that environment are going to commit, and people who are just looking to mess around, you know, they won't do that.
And go ahead, Brandon.
I was gonna say, and yeah, you know, the people are gonna realize, adding on to Michael's statement, that this is not just a video game. It's truly something that's built to be realistic. It's something that iRacing puts a lot of time and effort into, with being the realistic aspect. When I joined iRacing 4 or almost 5 years ago now, I think, you know, the first thing I did, I took a street stock out and I put it around USA Speedway, and that was the first official race that I've ever did. And you know, of course, me being 14 years old, I you know, grew up playing all the NASCAR video games, some of them considered, Sims, NR 2003, all that other stuff. I was like, this is one of the most realistic things that I've ever done. So, I thought it was cool. Of course, at the time, my parents were paying for it for me to be on the sim. I was only 14 years old, but I stuck with it ever since. And now, it's become one of my monthly investments, or now yearly investments to pay for my membership. But for me, it is totally worth it. Totally worth the cost.
Brandon, you did say something that I did want to. It's a phrase, and I think it's something that I can go off of. You said the word one-time cost. And that leads me into a discussion that I am very adamant about. I've said it on the forums. I get in every single forum fight about it. And that is the fact that stuff is a one-time cost, but it's more than just a one-time cost. We buy something. So back in 2009, I bought Talladega. It came out. Yay, Talladega. I race around Talladega. Talladega has undergone, changes. It's gone, the grandstands get tore down, the wall. Okay, so it's gone through facelifts. But then we've had tracks like Auto Club. That's relatively recent. Kansas is relatively recent on the NASCAR side specifically. Then we've had Myrtle Beach and Lucas Oil and the dirt stuff. That's all brand new, and it's at a completely different quality. It's at, if we're going from a C that Talladega is, we're going to an A+ that all the new stuff's at. But if that new person is coming into the store right now to buy a track and they're saying, oh, I don't have Talladega, I need to buy that. They see what Talladega looks like and they see that it does not look nearly as good. And now us specifically, we know that track came out in 2009 and it has not been touched. Other than a Monster Energy update, that track has not been touched. But then I'm spending the same amount of money on a track that just came out yesterday that is absolutely gorgeous and has all of the new texture models and shadows. How is that right where I'm spending the same money on a completely, in relative terms, inferior product?
I get what iRacing is trying to do with that aspect. Talladega Speedway is still one of the most popular tracks on the service, even though it is outdated. People realize it's outdated. Some of the newcomers, some of the kids that are coming in here, 14, 15 years old, may not even recognize it as Talladega Speedway when they first load into it. Just as many changes as gone through in real life, iRacing just hasn't been able to catch up to it. I do think that maybe the price should go down a little bit, just because it is such an outdated track, and that I definitely do agree with you on, Corey. I think in terms of pricing, iRacing can go a little bit overboard on these outdated tracks. We, all three of us, know that once a track is replaced, that track, at one time it used to drop down to $5. Now they made them free, completely free. So, and that is one thing also that they fixed is we don't have to pay for the outdated tracks.
And I don't want you to say that definitively, Brandon, because I'm not sure that that's going to be the new thing. I think Pocono was just such a promised thing for a long time that they did that, but I don't want us to think that that's fully the thing because I'm not sure that that's going to be.
We're not guaranteed, but they did it with every other track. Now, keep in mind, we had to pay for all the other tracks before, even if it was the $5. iRacing has since given everybody those tracks that have been replaced with the newer versions. So I do see a trend with that, which is, why I kind of went a little bit overboard with that statement. But, so iRacing did do a good job trying to fix that. But I do think that even the tracks that haven't been replaced, the price should at least go down maybe $5. Just, personal opinion.
It's hard, it's hard to, you guys are certainly right about, older tracks paying a newer price for these. Ideally we would see a new version or updated, these tracks being kept up to date, but, we demand a lot of iRacing, so it's hard to know where their priorities are at. I agree. Offering a lower price certainly, I think, would be a happy medium between the people who want new updated content all the time and don't want to pay for something that isn't as realistic. I think most people, though, Talladega is just the one example. I mean, a lot of people like to race Talladega, so most people are probably going to jump on and pay the price for that track. It's just one of those tracks.
Yeah.
But certainly, their model as a whole. I mean, there are little pieces where you could look at that and be like, that could be a lot better, and maybe they need to change this. That would be an improvement that could help earn them more money potentially, or bring on new people.
Yeah.
But
there's an example that I want to bring up to kind of reference that is, there's other track like Talladega, Silverstone on the roadside, but that's not even just old. It's completely inferior. It's outdated. It's just no. But there's tracks like Stafford Motor Speedway, Jackaroot Stafford Motor Speedway, a track that nobody would care about. The 95% of people don't. That track also, day one, hasn't been touched at all. I mean, it didn't even have NASCAR updates, no shader updates, no nothing. $14.95 or maybe $11.95.
$11.95.
So it's like, so let's take a different video game. Let's go to EA Sports. I know it's EA Sports, but let's just use it as a reference. They make Madden every single year, and yes, is it rehashed? Yeah. But they still put development costs into making it every single year, and they obviously want to get that back. And I mean, it's Madden, they do. But yeah, so Madden, if they make extra copies of Madden, let's say Madden 18 is out right now, and they're selling it, they're getting their money back for it. But Madden 15, they put their money out for that. That's still selling. You don't buy Madden 15, an older game, for full price. That's it. You haven't touched it in 3 years. It's outdated. It's older content. Nobody really uses it. Nobody really runs to it. It's old, but you're not going to charge full price for it. They lower the price. You buy it third party just to get it out there, because it is old. But iRacing, like we said, and same goes for cars too, like the Jetta. Or what else is there? I mean, the Silver Crown. It's still full price for a car that hasn't even been touched in 10 years. Or even raced in 10 years. But it's still full price.
When you make that comparison, I mean, it makes it difficult when you sort of think about, using EA as an example, and using sports games that come out yearly, or even NASCAR games that come out frequently, or at least updates. You have companies behind these games that are huge, and even at a 60, 70, 80, whatever the premium prices may be, to those one-time costs and the huge audience that they have, and just the massive market that they have with their games overall, they can afford to do what they need to do to
that's very valid.
update that content. And you're looking to, with iRacing specifically, where the laser scanning and the attention to detail and the drive to be as close to an identical simulation as they can be, that there's more time and more effort put into that, with fewer resources, I would imagine, than someone like EA. I haven't seen the numbers, but just an educated guess. So,
and keep in mind, sorry to cut you off, Michael, the iRacing community, for those that aren't as familiar with how big their staff and everything is, a lot of members know almost every staff member by first name at this point. Which, you look at someone like EA, you would never get that out of a community like that.
Yeah, so at the same time, iRacing, they do not have the staff, they don't have the budget, maybe they don't have the priority, but like we said, at the same time, there's still an expectation of, you don't sell the stuff at the back of the store for the same, that has been sitting there for years for the same price, or even just don't even title it as the same. Like, I could go either way with this comment, like I made on the forums, of Atlanta hasn't been scanned since 2005. Should iRacing put in the title of that track, Atlanta circa 2005, so that you know as the consumer what you're buying, so that you're not expecting, as the guy who just downloaded iRacing, to buy Atlanta and be like, hey, I live in Atlanta and this doesn't look like it at all anymore. Should you have a better idea of what era the content you're getting is from, or would that actually be kind of a negative on the iRacing side.
It might be a little bit overboard to have it right in the name of the track. I think maybe in the info tab at least would help a little bit. So, you know, kind of like an, oh, by the way, this isn't the current Atlanta Motor Speedway. You know, something like that, I think would be okay.
I think what it comes down to ultimately is iRacing. First off, you know, they charge such a premium, as we've discussed, that I mean, we as paying customers kind of have the right to criticize how, you know, the decisions they make. They get a lot of our money. They ultimately, though, when you look at it, are we going to buy Atlanta anyway? Probably. And are they going to make their money? Yeah. So, you know, what do you do? I think it would take a change in attitude from a large audience, a large group of people, to change their ways.
And this, while on the lines of content and maybe a lot of content, which gets it hard to be updated because there's so much of it. With every other simulator, with every other game, and I know, Michael, I think I was talking to you about this the other day, and probably Brandon as well. If I buy even other sims, Assetto Corsa, if I buy R Factor, I know when I buy R Factor that there's 20, maybe there's 50 cars, there's 30 tracks. You kind of know what you're buying, and then, yeah, there's a couple DLC here and there. But eventually you don't get that next wave until the next version that comes out. So there's always kind of an expectation that this is what the game has, this is what it offers. So you kind of build the content, the series, the championships, the leagues, they're all built around that. But iRacing is ever expanding. There's cars coming out all the time, there's tracks coming out all the time. And we know that most of it doesn't even get run. Most of it doesn't get used. I'll use Stafford Motor Speedway, for example. When was the last time that was on a schedule? When was the last time they ran the Silver Crown at Stafford, which would be something they do in real life? It just doesn't happen. So when was the last time we ran the Jetta? Like, nobody runs the Jetta. Nobody goes to VIR. And all we're doing when we get more content is creating a further backlog of content that just kind of gets thrown on the back shelf. But at the same time, we don't want a stagnant product. So what did they do about that?
I understand what you're saying. You know, already with my limited, only being on iRacing for a couple of years, I have the content that I haven't used in a year. They have to refresh it, or it won't get used, or they have to integrate them in some way in order for us to utilize that content. You know, the people who have already bought it, it may sit there and they've made their money, but obviously they're not going to make new money on a track or something unless they utilize it. Go back to where tracks that came out at the beginning, if they haven't updated the look and different aspects that people enjoy, you know, especially if they're not utilizing it on official races or in their scheduling, people aren't going to buy it. You know, plain and simple as far as that stuff goes.
All right, and I hate to break this topic so suddenly, but there is one more thing that we would like to get into before we have to wrap things up here. How about the death of Inside Sim Racing, guys?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is what got me into iRacing. I bought NASCAR 2003. I mean, I got into the stuff as a kid, but NASCAR 2003, I bought it at Best Buy, and I played it religiously, and I got into leagues and online servers. And then I was on YouTube when YouTube was just becoming a thing, because that's how old I am, like 2006, 2007, 2008, and then all of a sudden it was, oh, Inside Sim Racing. Hey, I have a nerd outlet for information. This is fabulous. Previews of iRacing, Sean Cole, Jessica Lopez. Oh my God. Then Darren, and they're going on about everything. R Factor, Arca Sim Racing, and the Simbin games. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then I see the previews of iRacing, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to pay this much. I'm not going to do it. But then they kept saying how good it is. And I'm like, I signed up for the beta, and here I am, and hundreds of thousands of views and all this stuff later, all these big conferences, and it's dead.
Yeah.
The YouTube side is dead. Asterisk.
Yeah, somebody bought out the company. Not running it right now. Hasn't run it for quite a while. Obviously, they've now lost a ton of subscribers off of their YouTube channel. You know, and I'm the same way, Corey. I found Inside Sim Racing on YouTube. The first video I ever watched from them, well, you know, their iRacing content, the iRacing previews, etc., etc. And then I watched how to build a cheap rig, you know, for under $100 from them, and that was my first ever rig. And you know, from there, that just pulled me right into iRacing, the reviews on products, everything else. So you know, that kind of hit me right in the chest there, and that aspect is, you know, they were what pulled me into iRacing.
Yeah, right now I'm on the webpage right now. Guys can see on the screen. I'm sorry. January 14th was the last Inside Sim Racing video, and they had as I click an ad incidentally, John Sable had taken over and Ganji had bailed because he is now working for Sim Experience. But you can see John Sable here. It only had 14,000 views, which for them is relatively low. But then we go here on the website, current news, and April 9th, April 8th. So the website is very active with blogs, but it seems that the content side of the website is just completely a thing of the past.
I know for me, you know, we've discussed this a little bit in the last week or so, maybe a while back. I didn't, you know, I wasn't into YouTube a whole lot when it first came along, and I think iRacing actually helped propel me into being serious about, I mean, we'll call it a video game, essentially what it is, but I started taking this serious. The content that I enjoyed before was more like the Let's Plays and the, you know, watching people stream their race, that sort of stuff. And I didn't get to enjoy the channel kind of when it was a big deal. And I've heard people talk about it. I've gone now and watched old videos, and it may not be as relevant when you're watching reviews on, you know, technology that's 2 years old or whatnot, but I mean, it's certainly a large channel, and just from what I've seen, just in going back and rewatching some stuff, you know, there's a little bit that went on, and then a very abrupt stop in content producing. And I think if you watch the final video, as of right now, that's up, you kind of learn a little bit as to why, but out of such a large channel and a group of guys, you know, obviously some coming and going, kind of surprising to see something like that very prominent in the community just quit.
Yeah, and I know I read John Sable. He is kind of pursuing more what his career was intended to be, something about engineering I saw. And then obviously Darren Ganji is off in other aspects of the sim racing world in more of a sales, I think customer service, which kind of makes me laugh a little bit, aspect. But then what does that do for the community? Because obviously we have other channels. I mean, we're kind of doing this now, but we're small. This channel has a lot of ways to go before it can have any kind of merit in the community. Working on it. But there's Sean Cole, obviously, with that split, which I don't think anyone ever figured out entirely what happened, because it's always kind of under the radar. But when Ganji and Cole split, Sean Cole did the Sim Pit. The Sim Pit is growing. I think he has over 30,000 subs right now. The Sim Racing Paddock with William Marsh is pretty good. That has about 12,000. But those, and I watch them on occasion, and I do like Sean Cole. I think they do a great job, but they take a different approach to their videos, and they go for more of a streaming approach with news and different videos. And Inside Sim Race was more of a show, and I really like that part of it more than watching you turn laps at yada yada 4 times a week. You know what I mean?
Definitely, and that's what I got out of it as well. The more entertainment was built in that to capture the audience's attention, you know, a little bit better than what there was before, or what there is with just the driving videos.
Ultimately, if there is a void, it is YouTube, and someone will fill it at some point. You know, hopefully the content and the individual or individuals creating it can do well. But you know, I don't think that you would see that hole there for too long, with that type of content either.
Yeah, because I know, as I said, there are so many streams out there. I mean, obviously we broadcast, so we watch plenty of racing. We're going to be doing it in about a half hour's time, actually. And then we do plenty of racing. I do some of my own streaming, not as much as I used to, but then I watch other streams. So I miss that news outlet. I do like, I don't necessarily play other sims. I don't really have time for it, but I like learning about other stuff, what's going on. And that's a void that if I'm watching William Marsh turn laps in Assetto Corsa at Imola or something, there's an entertainment value to that, of course, but you also want to learn about, it's kind of been a lost art of the whole sim racing reviews. I mean, reviewing new content, new DLCs, new updates, inside information on when the next thing's coming out. Like, that is what I feel is such a void in the community right now.
Yeah, definitely agree on that one. I think you nailed it on that statement alone. There is that void there, and like Michael said, there, in the land of YouTube, somebody is bound to fill that eventually. Maybe not right away, but I think it will come back eventually.
Yeah, we know how much work it goes into making. Broadcasting, it takes so much work into that, but looking up information, because we saw their website is active, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm lazy. If I could watch if I could watch a video, or I could read a vlog, yeah, if I could do that. I don't know why I wanted to say blog.
That's a video blog.
If I could read a blog or watch a video, I'm going the video route every single day of the week. I'm lazy.
Since internet got a little bit better and phone companies started giving us data speeds that we could get high quality YouTube videos out of. Blogs, kind of, they're going, the way of, insert dead technology here.
Beepers, Discmen, Walkman, iPods.
Yeah, NASCAR 93. It's in the now, people are gonna get on YouTube. It's that simple. They're gonna go and listen to people. I love this is completely irrelevant. My wife takes it a step further. In the stuff that she enjoys in the videos that she watches on YouTube, she'll speed it up to 1.5 or 2 times the speed so she can get through more information a lot quicker.
Chipmunk style.
People like her, there's no way that she's going to sit there and read a huge article when she can get through 3 or 4 videos in that time. So that's what you got to do.
Because I've found out, and I'm not the hippest person in the world, but I'm pretty good with stuff. I found out how to do Control F on my phone. So literally, if I see a blog that I really need information, but I'm not reading a wall of text, I figured out how to do that. I'm literally just gonna type in "feel VR" or something like that, and be like, "Oh, that's where it is. That's where I need to look."
That's pretty much.
Speaking of which,
technology.
Speaking of which, do I even wrap? We have about 10 minutes up, so I know we don't have as much of an audience on this, unfortunately, but hopefully there are people watching that have if you have anything that you want us to mention quickly, let us know. But Feel VR is in Kickstarter tomorrow morning.
I saw that, and
I don't know, and I'm more of a supporter. Michael, you're more on the fence on the side. Brandon, I don't know what you are, but
I can't afford it. So either way.
Do I have the money for it? Yes. Do I have the money for it? No.
No.
So
yeah, first off, I've been very pessimistic about Feel VR, and I want it to succeed. I wanted to go and fund Kickstarter originally, though, but
that's for Mitch Brown.
From Sim Racing Paddock and the such, you've got me confused. I have no idea what you just said. I've lost my train of thought.
Brandon got it. That's all that matters.
Yep.
I don't know what I was saying. But the reviews that have come out from people who have been hands-on with this, and yes, it's still in prototype, there's been a lot of just disappointment, and so I am not going to put my money to that. I think it's going to be a turd, but I hope it won't be.
I mean, do I have the money for it? No.
That's
do I have the money for it? No. So, either way, unfortunately, I will not be purchasing it. I'll be stuck with this stupid. If I could hold it up to the camera, I would. Logitech G27. That's a few years old, and it's starting to break down and not work.
How do I make a heart with my hands?
Unfortunately, this wheel is starting to break down. It's not working for me as well as it used to. It's starting to not work at all. And once it breaks down, I'm SOL, and I cannot race, unfortunately. So I should start saving up for something very soon and something better than what I have now. But unfortunately, right now, if I could, I would buy the Feel VR, but I can't.
I hope that's a meme tomorrow. But
well, thanks for the idea.
But
it can be one tonight.
But yeah, you kind of said it, Michael. You hope it's not a dud, but you think it is. And the thing with the Kickstarter is that there is I don't know what it is yet, but there's a definite amount of time that you have to take on that before you're stuck with the retail price. It's up to limited time only, limited people only in the Kickstarter. So let's say they fix all those issues,
all of them,
in the consumer release. Then wow.
Then you missed out if you didn't back the Kickstarter.
But if they
out.
didn't, and then you did buy it, then you just bought a $500 lemon.
You need to sell it on Facebook to someone who's not paying attention. Is what you do.
At full retail price. I saw someone trying to sell a T500 for $500 when you can buy a new one for that price. People
saw that too.
If someone wants it, someone wants. So it's like, I'm gonna sit there on my phone tomorrow and contemplate over that decision for an indefinite time period, and I'm probably.
And then you're gonna send your old wheel to me.
Oh, not for free. Hell no.
I have. I have more money. I have more money than Brandon. I'll buy it.
I'm 18 years old and broke, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
So.
It's hard to say. Like, that basically that's all I can say is that I don't have faith, but it'd be cool if it would work out, because even at full price, it can still be a decent option compared to other direct drive wheels.
So we have about 10 minutes left, so. I don't know what Evan Black wants me to do. Oh, he wants me to buy the wheel. Oh, there it is. Chat's a little bit delayed on the YouTube end, but you'll see that. There it is. About 10 minutes left.
Somebody's asking what's going on with my hair. I don't know. It does what it wants. I could go all like the emo.
You should ask him about his lamp.
Remember, this is also This is also an audio podcast, so don't get too video. Don't get too.
So we can. Talk
they get the point of what I did. I'm sure.
We can talk about that briefly too. We are uploading the audio version of these podcasts to the internet. So if you use iTunes,
internet, wow,
the
we could put a cassette in the mail if you'd like.
I'll mail a CD out to you every 12 episodes. We're putting it on the internet.
Some vital.
And it's then going to iTunes and Google Play, Spotify, I believe, TuneIn, radio, and then there's another I forget. But usually takes about 24 hours after I get it uploaded to hit that. But you can go subscribe. You can listen.
All right, there goes Corey's mind. Wandering off to a different place.
It's almost over now. So
keep in mind, we still have a broadcast after
that.
I
know.
I'm still on the loop, but I'll mail Evan a CD.
Mike still doesn't know what we're talking about.
I don't. Maybe I should look.
All right, so 7 minutes.
What are we doing tonight in like 20 minutes?
Integrity Racing League.
Brand new league we just picked up, guys. Be sure to check that out to 9 o'clock.
There's a backstory as to how we picked it up, but I don't want to offend people, so we won't say it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it, but I think I know where it goes.
But we're looking forward to it. They're a good league with a very large field, some relative big name drivers in there, so They haven't had a quality broadcast in quite some time from what I've heard, so we're definitely looking to put that on for them. I got some new features on the overlays that will be tested out, which is going to be fun.
Woohoo!
And
make
We're
sure you
getting fancy.
jump over to the broadcast and comment in chat about how much you love all the new overlays that Corey has been working hard on.
all the new animations that nobody will notice, but at least they look cool.
Now, keep in mind, he doesn't get paid for updating overlays. He just does it because it looks cool.
Well, that, and you got to be on your game. Yep. As with any business, if you get complacent,
thank you
drop.
Corey, so much for keeping the overlays all updated and looking fancy, and
we've seen
everything else that you do with
that. In between child naps, nice. I come down here and tweak with stuff, save it, and then I come back. Right now, my baby is sleeping, and I have a 1-year-old. This is the baby monitor, so if he wakes up, what happens? My mic gets muted, and I run upstairs. So, 'tis life of an adult, but. So, quickly, we are on Monday, April 9th. So, yesterday on April 8th was Texas Motor Speedway in NASCAR. And I missed most of the race because it was my son's birthday. Yeah. So, hoping you guys can... I obviously know the end of it, but how did that race go? What were your thoughts on it, gents?
You know, it wasn't that bad. The end of the NASCAR race could have been a lot better than what it was. It had potential to be really, really, really good.
I did see the end of it. I thought Harvick was going to have a chance out of it.
It had potential to be really, really super good, and it kind of fizzled out, and, you know...
I got a really bad itch on my nose today. I'm sorry, guys.
Kyle Busch ended up coming home with the win, which... You know, all the haters out there. I'm not a fan of Kyle Busch, but I don't dislike the guy as much as most others. So, I mean...
I was going to sum it up nicely with any race that Kyle Busch wins, a waste of time to watch it. Because I'm mad at the end. But
you're not wrong.
So be it. I wanted something we mentioned last week. You had asked me, where did Jimmie Johnson finish? Does anyone know where Jimmie Johnson finished?
I saw a fact. I don't know if specifically, but I saw a thing saying him and Greg Galding have had the same amount of top 10s in the last 13 races.
That says something. A grossly underfunded team at that. Jimmie Johnson finished 35th.
Larson was in the wall. Rip.
Yeah, I mean, you saw people like Chase Elliott who were running up front for a while. He fell outside the top 10. William Byron finished the best out of all Hendrick drivers. Would have rather have seen Harvick pull it off at the end, but Kyle Busch won. I missed most of it, as did you. I don't have an excuse, but I don't know. I look forward to next week.
Yeah.
Yep, next week is Bristol. It's Bristol, baby.
Yeah.
So, PJ1 track bite seems to be working, doing its job as much as it can since they ruined Bristol, in my opinion. So, you know, kind of back to bottom line at the beginning, 2 lanes throughout the middle of the race, then up to the top towards the end of the race. Now, Bristol is starting to gain its fans back in that aspect, so it should be a really good show. Last time I went, stands were packed full. No empty seat in the house. I went last year, and it was a great show. So I look forward to it. It's a short track, and I personally love short tracks over any other type of racing. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I do like Bristol. I mean, I put it on the forums this afternoon. I actually think that could be something they put in iRacing as the PJ1. It's kind of something that should be relatively easily with the dynamic track if they ever decided to go that route. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be a good race. I mean, if they put enough bite down and they put it down after all, I mean, I don't know if are the trucks racing this weekend.
But
either way, they always put it down after each race. That way they have a fresh layer of grip for each race. That way it lasts as long as it can, because we know once it wears off, it's ring around the top. It's iRacing Kansas, and you can't do anything, and it's, to be honest, it's a waste of time. But if they do it right, it kind of turns multi-groove until they just decide to spend the money to level the track out geometrically. But all right, so
I think
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
No, go ahead.
I was just alluding to chat. David Weishart, who is a driver in our rivalry racing league, said he was a little surprised you didn't interview him the other day, but I think you could tell him why. Well, there's two reasons why you were not Watkins Glen the other day. I think you could tell him both of them, even though you didn't. You probably don't know what they have off the top of your head.
I don't do road courses. I have a hard time commentating road courses, so that's one of the reasons. And I was working.
Yeah, see,
so,
2 reasons. That was right. Go, man.
There you go.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I got stuck at work that night. But I promise, David, I'll be interviewing you next to Victory Lane.
So you say he's winning on Iowa on Thursday?
The next time.
I mean, with how he's been performing.
Yeah, I mean, Evan and I are. I mean, we each kind of have our different skill set. Brandon is the energetic, kind of the more real life sounding announcer. I kind of have more of the historical knowledge of and the color side. I know more of the facts and what's going on. And then Evan is more of the driver because he races, I think, more than any of us do. So he really has. So we kind of. I mean, it's kind of interchanging who's in the booth, what kind of experience we get, but I think all of them are. I mean, I'm proud of what we do, so I think it all works out.
And for those of you that are disappointed that my side-by-side can't get as high-pitched as it used to, I can't go that high anymore because my voice is shot after doing so many
How's
broadcasts.
that t-shirt going, by the way, Brandon? That side-by-side t-shirt?
What?
On the PrimetimeRacing.tv store, which is, I think, coming soon. If we... It's there, but it's not where we want to sell stuff.
It's not finalized.
Because we have had at least 10 people say that they want a shirt, but we're working on that.
So I think we should wrap things up here, get ready for our broadcast at 9 p.m. Eastern. Any last words, guys?
Well, I do want to, because I think we have more people on now than we did at the beginning, so I want to make sure that people know about the team event that we have. I'll bring it up on the screen one more time here today as I get my announcing voice ready. The Ptr Tv Team Clash, which starts in approximately 1 month here on the screen right now, is what it is. It's going to be 3 races a night, 3 different combinations with a team. So get your teams registered, and each race, one person's points will count. The highest finisher on your team, his points will count for each race. At the end of the night, we have a team race champion. At the end of the 3 races, we have an overall team champion. Prizes to be announced. So get your teams registered. They will be broadcasted, obviously, by us and maybe something down the line that'll even be better than that. But again, get those registered. Link is in the description.
Make sure you like Primetime Racing TV on Facebook if you haven't already, because when new info comes out or we need something from you, that's where we're going to ask for you to do that or give you that information.
Yep.
So
and there will be more specific information on the Clash there posted with the link there, so it's in the description. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be everywhere. But we have a broadcast in 15 minutes, Integrity Racing League at Texas, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. So we have to prepare, so we're going to be signing out. Corey Silva, Michael DeGroat that way,
over here,
and Brandon Krutz is that way. So that's us. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good night, everybody.
Catch you next time.